Hey guys, so I'm going to start doing a series on my 240. It's going to be kind of like a drift build, street build, and I'm just going to kind of document everything as I go. So to start off, this is my car. It is a 1995 S14. If you can't tell by the headlights, I'm doing a kouki conversion. Just kind of start from the very beginning and work my way back of everything that I've done. So starting with the front of the car, the engine I'm going with is a 2JZ. It's the GE, but it's currently in the machine shop getting new pistons and rods to be able to handle some boost versus the stock rods and stuff, which are terrible. So that'll be back within the next few weeks, I'm hoping. And then I got a transmission over there. It's kind of hard to see because I got someone's junk. It's a CD09. That'll be cool. It's got a whole Collins adapter. It's got an R154 bell housing on it. So there's the R154 bell housing. It's supposed to just kind of bolt straight up to the 2J, but this is what's on like automatic 2Js that come in like the Supras and like the Chasers and stuff. So that should bolt straight up to the motor. And then I've got to replace the throwout bearing because it's pretty rusty. I don't think it's ever been used, but I don't want to risk it. There's the rest of the components, the flywheel, and then the clutch for the car, and then the shifter. I don't think I'm going to use that because it is the stock 350 shifter and everyone says it's terrible, so I don't think I'll use that. I think I'll probably end up buying either GK Tech or C09. But anyways, back to the front. I'm going to be pretty transparent. There's no point in hiding anything. So headlights and corner lights are from eBay. They're nothing special. I didn't buy the front supports. I just drilled into the stock one. But anyways, so for the headlight brackets, I made these in CAD and 3D printed them. It's kind of hard to see it, but it ain't perfect, but I mean, it works. I had to drill 2 holes right here. And then I printed these nuts online that just thread onto the screws. I mean, it's nothing fancy, but it supports it, I mean, how I need it to. And this is just wobbly, but this is pretty good. Here's the harness. This is just the chassis harness. So what I did was I took apart the harness for the most part and I stripped it down to whatever I needed and just got rid of what I don't want and didn't need. For instance, like the AC, clutch fan, stuff like that I'm not going to run. So I just kind of got rid of it. I cut the radiator support to get the radiator as far up as I can because the 2J is a long engine. I mean, it's going to take up, at least to like right here. So moving on over here, I've got 2 new master cylinders for the brake and the clutch. Nothing special, but this car was ABS, I think. I don't remember for sure, but that's right, and I think this is right. I think this is fine, the OEM one, to work with the CD09, I hope, at least. But as you can tell, I painted the engine bay blue. I mean, it's nothing special. It's a Summit Racing blue. And then I put the gold heat tape on the firewall. So moving on to the front end, like up here. So on the front and rear, there is the Enjuku Racing bash bars, both with jack points. This one's unpainted. The one in the back is painted blue. I tried to do something with the metallic spray paint, which I ended up not liking. So I think I'm just going to match it with this blue. For the whole body kit, like I said, being transparent, this is just a cheap fiberglass body kit. It's from, it's basically just Duraflex. It's from another website called Carbon Fiber Hoods. So this front bumper, we fought. We had a lot of disagreements. Once you put it on the car, you'll notice it is like a good 4 inches too wide on both sides. And it's just like, it's not possible to mount it. I don't have that fender on, so you can't tell, but you can kind of see. I mean, there's a huge gap. So it sucks. I was going to get the KBD, and I should have just forked the money out, but I decided to go the cheap route, and I'm kind of paying for it now by getting this one. So what I had to end up doing, hopefully you can't really tell other than all the paint, I cut this in half, took away some material, and then fiberglassed it back together. It ain't perfect. I'm getting the car wrapped, so I'm not really too concerned on how it looks right now. I mean, I'm going to sand it and stuff to make it smooth, but until then, I'm fine with the way it looks. So moving on to the brakes, I did Part Shop Max front and rear. So the rear has dual caliper setup. I've got 2 Part Shop Max ones on both, sides, and then the front, and then just generic rotors. The front fenders are like, I think 55 millimeter wide ones. I wanted a pretty wide stance on this car, so I got the pretty much the most aggressive I could get. And then just some, cheap side skirts. It's kind of going to go along with the kit. So here's the fender. It's pretty wide. I mean, it's also cheap. You can tell. I mean, this is like the coating that they put on the plastic, whatever it is, like fiberglass plastic. It's cracked all over the place. I've got some rib nuts that I'm using. That's how I'm mounting all this stuff. And then I printed this to kind of close in that gap a little bit. That's really about it for the fenders. Nothing too fancy there. There's the side skirts. The rear fenders, they're not bolted. Also did rib nuts. And then the rear bumper is not bolted up right now, but I had to cut the center of it out because it was bent, like the molding was wrong, and it was like more in on this side than it is on that one. So I just cut it and just went with that way. I like the way it looks. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I mean, from a distance, it looks fine to me. I mean, it's not bolted up, so you can't really tell. Moving to the inside of the car, nothing really in here yet. I took the dash out. It had some cracks up top, and I cleaned them out with a Dremel and then put body filler over it, sanded it down, and smoothed it out. And then I flocked it, which it's kind of hard to see it, but the stuff is pretty awesome. It's almost like the same material as my steering wheel, like that Alcantara. So this is me sitting in the driver's seat. I have a kouki in here, but I don't like the one that I've got because it's got a kind of aggressive lean to it, and I want to get one that's more straight up. But this is the, it's a GK Tech handbrake, their whole setup. So I didn't like the way that it was from like OEM because it placed it one on this side, and you'd be pulling it like that, and I just do not like that. So I kind of cut this bracket up, changed it all up how I wanted it to, and put it here. It's a little close to the steering wheel, but I mean, it's straight back, so it's not like I'm gonna hit it, and it's still loose. So there's a better view of the seat. I have, they're called Nisuba, I think that's how you pronounce it. Seat mounts, I think they're probably the lowest you can get, and that's really what I needed because I'm tall. I'm like 6'4", so I really needed to get like the lowest mounting ones. And then a kouki is, although it has no padding in it, it's still pretty comfortable for what I'm going to be doing in this car. So I'm not really too upset about that. But I do have fresh carpet that I'm going to be putting in. It's up there. It is molded for this, but I'm just going to get everything done before I do that because I'll probably get like a upholstery guy to throw it in for me so that it's a lot better than how I would do it. But that's pretty much it. I mean, it's going to be a slow roll building this. I just want to do it right and make it, how I want it to be. I do have a hood. It's right there. It's also a little beat up, but it's all right. I can fix that. But once it's done, I think I'm going to be really happy with it. Speaking back to this, I don't know how these headlights mount up, how you're like supposed to mount them from the side, because on these fenders, it wasn't really going to work. I wasn't happy with the way it looked, so I just made this bracket myself, and I'm happy with it. So if anybody needs, S14 headlight mounts, hit me up. But yeah, this is the car so far. I mean, just little things, GK Tech brake lines, all that good stuff. I still have parts over there in boxes that I'm not going to get to yet because nowhere near ready for stuff like that. But yep, this is where we're at now. I got a long ways to go, but I should be having the engine back soon. And I think once I get that back, it's going to be kind of like a lighting a fire, just because I have the transmission, the motor, I have motor mounts. It's going to be, I'll be able to get ready to throw everything back together. So I think once I get that back, it'll be good to go. Oh, and I got coilovers too. Some cheap ones, nothing special. I think it's like the max speeding rods, pretty much eBay. I don't care. For now, it'll do. I mean, my last 240 was on eBay setup. Actually, it was on Godspeed, which is basically eBay. And I was able to drift it fine. So, but yeah, this is where I'm at now. I'll keep updating. It's going to be a while until the next one, most likely, just because there's a lot going on and I haven't really had much time to get out here and mess with this, but when I do, I'll post another update, and we'll go from there.